Hello everybody and welcome to our grandMA3 software webinar. Good afternoon from Germany. It's summer here at our place, but outside it's freaking cold today, so very good to talk about software and stay inside. And we want to talk about the new software version 2.3 today. I think you have already read the news that we have a new software version since Tuesday this week. So you can download the version 2.3 already with the new features and functionalities. And I want to guide you through a little bit of the main functionalities and features, but also some workflow improvements to give you a little bit of an introduction for version 2.3. Maybe just a hint before we start. Of course, maybe you have already had a look at the software and you have some questions already, or there might be questions during the webinar. Just type them in this chat functionality you see down there. And I will try to answer these questions during the webinar. Of course, there are sometimes a lot of questions, so maybe I cannot answer them all, but I will try. And if I cannot make it, of course, afterwards, you are always happy to get in contact with your local MA distributor, with your local MA support. And our friends and also we are always happy to help and support and get feedback because we hope that you like version 2.3. But enough talking for the moment. We want to dig into the topics of version 2.3. And one of the main features and functionalities is definitely the enhanced filters. So as you know, we can create filters already since a couple of versions in grandMA3, but we reworked the filters to give them more structure, more predefined filters, to be even more flexible, to build some very customized and personalized filters you might need. And of course, you might need filters to reduce information in your bigger sheets, like the sequence sheet, the track sheet, the fixture sheet, where you just want to make sure that you see the information you need. But you can also use these filter objects to use them really as a technical data filter. So for example, as an input or output filter for your sequences. Maybe you want to make sure that you just store dimmer and color at a specific sequence. So you can use a dimmer and color filter as an input filter for a specific sequence. So let's have a look how these filters look like in version 2.3 now. You know, we have a filter pool down there, and in the filter pool you have some of these predefined filters already, but you can create your own ones for sure. So that's why we want to edit here a new filter object. You can see it here. You can just edit it by a swipey and then go into this filter editor. And on the right-hand side, you can see something which is quite familiar from the versions before. So you can choose some attributes to define your filter in this case. So if you just want to filter for attributes like dimmer position color, for example, because you only want to see this information in a specific sheet, you can go in here and select the respective attributes. So this is quite familiar. On the left-hand side, you can see now the new implementation and the new things we did with the filter object now in 2.3. And that's a combination of filter rules and rule sets. These filter rules, they are quite helpful because you get a lot of predefined and very useful filter rules you can directly use. Let's have a look at this. If we create a new filter rule here, you can see a list of predefined filters, which can be very helpful, of course. For example, you can see here a cooked filter. So a cooked filter means you maybe want to see just the recipe or the values which are coming from a recipe at the moment. There are some further very helpful filters like if output or if programmer. So you only want to see fixtures which are currently on your output or which are currently in the programmer. You have here a very new and useful thing like the live filter. So this is a filter where you see fixtures afterwards which have a dimmer value above 0 and which are stored with 0% at a specific queue. So at your current queue, for example, and then you see all the fixtures which are somehow contributing to your actual look with this live filter. Then you can see fixtures, for example, or attributes, which are doing a move in black with this MIB filter. And you have some further filters, like you want to see your parked fixtures or attributes, or you want to see fixtures which are used in a specific object, used in the selected sequence, or used in your show. So some of these very helpful predefined filter rules you can directly use. Let's have a look at the structure, because the structure tells us we have rules on the one hand and we have rule sets. So you can combine several rules to a complete rule set. Within one rule set, you can create a kind of end condition. So you have several rules, and the fixtures or the attributes you want to see, they have to follow this rule and that rule and that rule. So, for example, we get rid of this attribute rule for a moment and build a filter where we can say fixtures which are currently used in a selected sequence, for example, and you only want to see, let's say, fixtures which are live at the moment. So you have this used in selected sequence, and you combine it with the live filter to create an end condition. You only want to see fixtures which are used in the selected sequence and which are live. So dimmer value above 0 or stored with 0%. So this is the rule for, let's say, an end condition within one rule set. If we create a new rule set and we have a look at the several rule sets, you can create an OR condition with that. So let's get rid of this again. And we do a very simple example. So we have one rule set where we have a filter rule that we want to see some fixtures which are used in a specific object. We can define the object here, and we select a preset, which is then maybe the red preset. And we select a new rule set, or we create a new rule set. You can already see this symbol for an OR condition. So that means we want to see fixtures which are using the red preset, or we want to see fixtures which are using the blue preset. So we go to the object again, we select the preset, and we say we want to have the blue preset. So in this case, you created an OR condition. You want to see all the fixtures which are doing the red preset and which are doing the blue preset. So there is the difference. Filters or filter rules within a rule set, they create an end condition. Several rule sets between each other create an OR condition. So you can see you are very flexible using these filters, using the different rules and the different rule sets. What I want to show you as well is, when we delete that filter again, that there is a nice workflow in creating this typical used in object filter. So you want to see fixtures which are, for example, just used in a specific group. So I can go in there, I can have my wash floor group, for example, and I just can take this group object, press assign or use this assign swipey, and assign it to an empty filter object. So what you can see then, if we edit this filter, is that it automatically created this, this rule used in object, and we can see that it's using the wash floor group. So we can directly see that this one is a filter now created used in the group wash floor object. So we can directly assign objects to a filter, and it will automatically create this filter rule and the rule set for us. You can do this with groups, you can do it with sequences, with presets, so with all the different objects where you might want to reduce your information to. So this is, I think, quite an easy and simple workflow to create your own personalized filters. Then the next topic of grandMA3 version 2.3 is a little bit related to this because we want to make use of the filters to, let's say, reduce the information in our sheets. So not only as an in and output filter, but we want to especially create some reduced information in the track sheet, in the content sheet, for example. So wherever we get a lot of information, we want to use these filters to mask our sheets. And therefore, the next topic in version 2.3 is the sheet masking. We can use these filter objects now directly in the sheets. And of course, this is quite helpful, as I mentioned, in sheets where you get a lot of information. So for example, the track sheet. You know, when we have a look at the sequence sheet here, you can enable the track sheet. And for the track sheet, you know that already, that there is sometimes a lot of information. You can see all the fixtures with all the attribute values, with all the cues. And especially, of course, when you have sequences which are quite long, quite big, you have a lot of attributes, a lot of different fixtures. This information can be quite overwhelming, and in some situations you want to reduce the information level to a minimum of what you want to see. This is something we can do now with the sheet masking. How can we do that? We go to the top left corner of our sequence sheet, so to the sheet settings, and here you will see a new tab which is called mask buttons. You can see already the 16 different mask buttons we have here, and we can use the mask buttons directly in our sheet now using the mask toolbar. So what I do now is I click on that mask toolbar. We enable this, and we can see the mask toolbar now directly here in the sheets. You can do this for the track sheet, for the content sheet, for the fixture sheet, for example. So in all these sheets where you want to reduce the information. And then the workflow is quite simple. You have some filters created, you have some predefined filters, and you can just assign these filter objects to your mask buttons over here. So if you want to see, for example, only the position data in the track sheet, I can take my only position filter here. We can go in there, assign it to a mask button. Wonderful. And maybe we want to only see the color in some situations as well. We can assign this to a different mask button. And the great stuff here is that this button is a toggle. So you can just turn it on and you can directly see only position data. Or we just toggle the only color filter, so you can just see the color information. Of course, you can switch this off at any time to get the whole information back. And this is quite a simple workflow to mask your sheets, to reduce the information, and at the end, see what you really need. And combined with these personalized and very customizable filters, you can reduce the information to a minimum of what you really need. Great. Let's have a look at the next topic of version 2.3, and we are going a little bit from the filter and sequence direction to our playbacks. And our playback engine in grandMA3 is very, very flexible. It's powerful. You have a lot of different functionalities for the hardware handles you can use, but with version 2.3, we get even more. And this is what we want to have a look now when we have a look at the improved assign menu. So let's have a look at the playback window. You know, the assign menu is the place where you can assign your functions to the buttons, faders, and your rotary encoders, so to your whole playback section. What you can do is, press the assign key, or we just type assign or the shortcut ASS in the command line and select one of our executors here. You can see in the playback window. Then I can open up the assign menu. And you can see it already that first of all, we reworked this menu in a graphical way. So there is a lot more overview. You can see here on the left-hand side, the blocks of 5 executors, which are always, the 5 together with the 4 different rows we have on the grandMA3. And then on the right-hand side, you will get a detailed overview of what is assigned to a button, to a fader, for example, or to a rotary encoder. So you can just select the different hardware handles here on the left-hand side, and you get a detailed overview on the right-hand side. So detailed overview of the different functionalities and also an overview of the functions you can assign directly. So there is no drop-down menu anymore, but you can see all the functionalities directly to just select the hardware handle and then select the function. So this is quite a good workflow to get your functionality to the hardware handles instantly. What you can do then as well is, especially for buttons, you have this row for a custom command. So you can always directly see when you assigned a custom command to a button. And then we put some things in the workflow of the assign menu. What I really like about it is that you can now grab this sequence here and just move it around. So wherever you want to have it, you can just move it around and place it to different rows and different hardware handles of your playback section. And then what is also nice is you have these 4 corners here. For your executor. So you can see at the moment the executor is on line 200 and 300, but of course we can also extend it. And now we can also extend it to the left and the bottom, which was not possible before. So you have the full flexibility to extend and to shorten the executor wherever you might need it. Maybe get rid of line 1, reduce it again to the left. So you can directly see what's going on with your executor and with your assignment at the moment. Great. If we then have a look at the functionality on the right-hand side, you can see that you can select, for example, a button, and you can select a go, for example, right? Then the functionality is on there. You can select a fader. We want to have this as a master. Maybe we want to have another button, which is then doing an off. So you get a detailed functionality overview here. And we added some nice functionality to the things here as well. On the one hand, when we have a look at the small rotary encoders, you can now edit the encoder resolution. So this was a very long time wish since the beginning of grandMA3, I think, to be able to edit the step size of these small rotary encoders, especially, of course, helpful when you use them as a temp or a speedmaster. You want to have sometimes, let's say, a kind of finer or even harder resolution. So you can do that. You can also invert the encoder directly in here. And there is a nice addition to the buttons. So next to the button press, you can now define also a functionality for a button release. So this can be helpful for these typical dimmer or color bumps where you just want to add another functionality whenever you release the button again. So I think this is a nice new workflow. And you are now very, very flexible with this playback section. You can assign even more functionality there. We hope that you like this in version 2.3. So have a look at the new assign menu. Another nice addition to this whole, let's say, playback section and playback area is something I want to show you in our sequence pool. So when we have a look at the pool of sequences, you know that we can have some object actions directly there, right? So you can set a go or a toggle or whatever functionality for the sequence pool, and you can run sequences directly from the pool. But sometimes you are missing the overview of your queue list here. So what you can do in the sequence pool is now go to the pool settings and then over there switch it to executor style. An executor style will show us the queue list directly in here. So whenever we run our sequence, and maybe we assign this pool action to a go plus, nice. So when we run our sequence, we get an overview of the queues directly in here. You see the active queue, you see where you are coming from, and you see the next queue as well. And by the way, this executor style is also something you can use in your layout view. Whenever you assign the sequence object to a layout, you will be able to use this executor style there as well. Great. Okay, so far so good. We are moving on with the topics as mentioned. Whenever you have questions, just let me know. And I will try to answer them. There is a question when we will get the MA3 in off queues. Yeah, this is at the moment a project we are taking care of. So first of all, we had to take care of some playback functionalities here, especially with the assign menu. For the next version, we are trying to get a little bit more to the let's say to the sequence behavior, to the queue behavior, and of course this is still on the list to take a little bit more functionality to the off queues. Still on the list to do. We hope with one of the next versions that we can do it already. Great. Okay. Next topic in 2.3 is something you know already from former grandMA generations, but also from grandMA3. But we implemented some new functionality, some more stuff into this, which is the message center. You know, the message center can be quite helpful if you want to get some more information about your console, about your system, whenever you have some functionalities activated, like highlight, solo, you are in blind mode, or there is a console missing in your session. You will get an overview and you will get a status message and also sometimes a symbol in your command line. And there are now even more symbols and warnings and ways to customize this message center. So what can we do? We have a look at our command line here, and there is this kind of envelope symbol here, which is then guiding us to the message center. On the left-hand side, you can see already that you get a kind of matrix between all different areas of your system, command line, MANet, power messages, and so on. And there is a, let's say, kind of level between spam, some warnings, errors, and alerts. And for these specific, let's say, areas in the console, you can define now yourself if you want to get a warning, if you want to get a notification, or even a pop-up for some things. So especially when we have a look at the MANet section, where our session communication is taking place, you can decide, for example, with alerts, means a station is missing for some reason. You can have a look at this bell, and this bell at the moment means when it's grayed out, you get no notification in this area at all. So it's just turned off, so nothing will happen whenever there are some messages in this area. But you can click on this bell and turn this into a white color. A white color would mean you get some notification on the top right corner of the screens. This will be there temporarily, so you can see it, but you only get a notification on your bigger screens. When you press again and turn it to red, then it will show you a pop-up in the middle of each screen of each station. So you directly get a pop-up and you have to confirm this pop-up. So the system makes sure that you really get this message and this warning. These are, of course, there are some defaults in this matrix and some default settings. And what I believe is that the defaults, they are quite good to use. But have a look at this, have a look at the new message center and see if these defaults work for you or if you need some more notifications or pop-ups wherever you need it. And then on the right-hand side, you can also see some status messages, and these status messages you will see in the command line, especially with these icons which are available. One typical example is you have the highlight function activated, and we are wondering why nothing is happening on the output, right? Because you have still highlight activated. You choose a color and there is no color. Happened many times, at least for me. And that's also the reason why I'm not a lighting operator and I do the webinars. So sometimes you have this situation where you're wondering why something is not working. And especially highlight is a good functionality for that. So you sometimes want to get a kind of symbol here whenever you have highlight activated. And by default, this highlight symbol stays on activity. So when we have a look at the highlight function, and we activate this, you can see now in the command line over here, the small little highlight symbol. So it will indicate that you activated highlight now. There are some things you can customize here as well. So by default, these status messages are on activity, but sometimes you want to see maybe the symbol always. So you want to always have this highlight symbol there. Then it is kind of grayed out. So let's turn off highlight again, and we will see that the symbol is kind of grayed out here. So you always see it, and whenever highlight is active, it will get brighter, right? And the nice thing here with the status functionalities is as well that I can see it for all the user profiles. So I can decide if I want to see it only for my station or if I want to see it for all the other user profiles in my multi-user environment. So a lot of things to customize here, a lot of things where you can get notifications, you can customize these notifications. So how long should they stay? Should they stay just permanent, or should they stay just temporarily or permanent? You can directly go in here and customize the messages and warnings you might want to get. Great. There is a question. I tried to assign a sequence to a layout view, but I can't see the queue list. So what you have to do is to go in the layout, in the sheet settings as well, and then activate the executor style there. So this can be done in the sequence pool, but it can be also done in the layouts. So let me check where we have it. I think this was something you have to activate in the objects. Let me just check. So when we edit the layout, you get the list of things here. And let me check where we have it. Yeah, when you activate the settings here in the layout window, you will get the executor style button here as well. So when you activate this, you should see also the queue list of your sequence object. Great. Okay. Nice. There is another question. Can you talk about phasers, fast sync, and resync? Yes, I can do it because that's the next topic. We will talk about speed handling of phasers. So it's great. We will do this webinar together. You have exactly read the playbook already. So what we can do with the phaser speed handling is we have some new functionalities to take care of speed and synchronization of phasers. Let's have a look at an example. I have a typical phaser running there. This is maybe something I don't want to have. So turn everything off first, and then we go with that. So a simple phaser. Again, you can see why I'm not a lighting designer, but for the example, it should be properly. So we have this phaser running, and this phaser is also assigned to a speedmaster. So of course, like the normal functionality you know for a while now, we can assign a learn speed button functionality to the speedmaster, and then we can press this, and we can decide how fast the phaser should run. This is the learn speed functionality. With 2.3 now, we added some new functionality which you can use directly at the buttons of your sequence or at the buttons of your speedmaster. So let's have a look and assign this speedmaster here. And for our first button, we choose the new functionality fast sync. What is fast sync doing? It sets the starting point for your phaser. So whenever you press this button fast sync, it will do the first step of the phaser. So imagine you have a situation running where the phaser is currently on your output, but then you have the beat for the music and you really want to set the starting point for the phaser again. You can just press the fast sync button, and you can already see when you have a look at the 3D here, and I'm in the middle of the phaser, that when I press the fast sync, it will automatically and instantly restart the phaser with the first step. So we can directly set this first step with the fast sync button. Then a little bit related to this, because sometimes you don't want to have this fast resync, but you want to do a synchronization with the first step where you have a kind of smooth transition into that, right? You don't want to be so hard, especially imagine like you have a fly out phaser. You don't want to instantly restart it, but you want to smoothly let's say, transition in the new synchronization. Therefore, you can use the new functionality, which is called resync. And resync does more or less exactly the same like fast sync. So it sets the starting point when you press it, but it will do a smooth transition to it. So hopefully you could see it. Whenever I press this now, you can see the phaser is delaying slightly and then starting with the new first step at this point where you pressed. So it's going into synchronization, but it has a kind of smooth transition into that. So 2 new possibilities to set a new sync and a new start. And the great thing now about the Speedmaster here, or using it with the Speedmaster, is you can use it, of course, for several phasers. So if you have multiple phasers, like I have here with the washes here now as well, and you want to set the start point for the 2 phasers combined, then of course you can use this with the speed number 1. So let's maybe assign a fast sync again here. So probably your phasers are not in sync at the moment, but then you can press fast sync and both of the phasers have step 1 of step 1 of step 1, right? So they all have the same step 1 and they are synchronized again. So fast sync and resync to sync the phasers directly, and especially with the new functionality and with the good functionality to use it on the Speedmasters, because you have several phasers you want to synchronize maybe. And then just for your record, there's also a new functionality, which is then learn. We know the learn speed, and we had a look at this at the beginning. But if we have learn, we can combine the resync and the learn speed. So you can press it once and then several times to learn the speed. But learn gives you also the first new starting point and does a smooth transition into the new speed and into the first step. Right? So there are a lot of possibilities now to, let's say, adjust and synchronize your phasers. And I would recommend to really have a look at this using these functionalities together with the Speedmaster, because then you have a lot of power in combining and resyncing several phasers which are listening to that Speedmaster. Right? Cool. I think we are coming a little bit closer to the end, but we have 2-3 more things I definitely want to show you. And what we did in version 2.3 is also to have a look at a little bit the workflow, especially when you're working in a sequence and you want to store or update existing queues, or you want to store new queues. So let's have a look at the store and update workflow. So let's imagine the situation where we are in the middle of our sequence. So you can see it. I'm in queue number 3, and I have some lights. I have a new mood. I have a new look on my stage, and I want to create a next queue with it, but not the next queue which is already existing. But I want to have a queue in between. I can do this, of course, by specifying a queue number and say I want to store queue 3.1 in this case, but sometimes I don't want to take care of where I am in my sequence. I just want to have a fast workflow to create a new queue in between without specifying my queue number. And this is what you can do with the new syntax in 2.3. So what you can do is, of course, use the command section, the keys, but also the command line. Whenever we have some fixtures and, I don't know, we have some values active, and we want to store this automatically between Q3 and 4 without specifying the queue number. We are currently in Q3, and we can say store Q plus. So store Q plus will automatically store a new queue 3.1 because it identifies that there is a Q3, there is a Q4, and obviously what can I do to store a new one in between is to name it 3.1. So I don't have to take care of the queue numbering. I just have to make sure that this queue is automatically stored in the middle, in between these 2 existing queues already. This also works if you have a Q3 and a 3.1, then it would automatically create a queue 3.01. So there are, there is a kind of intelligence behind that the store with plus or minus, this is also possible, you can create a queue before that, will create a new object, a new queue. So this is a nice small workflow addition whenever you're working directly in a sequence and you don't want to take care of queue numbers. And then another example would be that you are creating a look and you are currently in that queue number 3 and you want to store it into the next existing queue. And again, you don't want to specify the queue number, but you want to have a fast update and store workflow. You don't want to move your hand because you want to stay in the command section where you specify the queues and the store and the update functionality. So therefore, we also have a new syntax. So let's imagine we have again, let's say just some values, right, like this. And we can now say store queue next. And the great thing with next and previous, so you can say store queue next or store queue previous, it will automatically tackle the next or the previous existing queue. That means we can say please, and then you can say it would store it automatically to Q4. So store queue with next and previous will automatically tackle the next or previous existing object. The thing is now that, of course, the next and preview key, when you have a look at the command section, they are quite far away. They are on top left of our command section. We want to stay here at the bottom right with our hands, because here we say store queue, and then we want to say next or previous. Therefore, we implemented a new keystroke here as well, where you can use the MA key together with plus and minus. So MA plus and MA minus means next and previous now. And you can use it directly with this new syntax for a very fast store and update workflow. So this should be a nice workflow addition whenever you want to tackle some queues, existing or new queues, without specifying the number and without having a look at the sequence sheet, right? So have a look at this. And then right at the end, it's also about, let's say, a little bit a technical topic, but we want to talk about a new software package you will get, and this is the grandMA3 NetDuct. So with the version 2.3, when you have a look, and I'm sure you had already, you were at the homepage malighting.com and had a look at the download section, you will find a new software package which is called grandMA3 software for Whiskey and NetDuct. You know Whiskey already, and you know that the Whiskey connection is a connection to external visualizers. So you can have a connection to these external visualizers using MA3, so you're sending the DMX data via MA3. You can add these external visualizers to your session, and then with the Whiskey hardware, you can get the parameters for the external visualization. Now the NetDuct is going a little bit into the same direction. It ensures that you have a safe and good connection to external media servers and or tracking systems. So at the moment, our friends from Green Hippo have implemented this already to be able to be controlled by MA3. So you send the DMX data via MA3 to the Green Hippo, and you can add the Green Hippo media server to your grandMA3 session. Let's have a look at the software package, how it looks like. So once you went to the download section and you unpack this package to your USB stick, you can use it here to update this connection. So we go to the menu, settings, and the software update. And here we have a look. We want to select and import the update files. I will show you my stick. And there is some packages we know already. We have the grandMA3 on PC for Windows, the on PC for Mac, the stick software, so for the consoles, processing units, nodes, so for the real grandMA3 hardware. And then you have here at the bottom the release Whiskey and NetDuct package. And this is the software package you need once you have this connection between, at the moment, grandMA3 and Green Hippo, and you want to do a software update. You have to send this software update, this software package, also to your Hippo device, which is then shown in your list of network devices. And as mentioned, at the moment, it's the friends from Green Hippo who have implemented this already, but there are more media servers and also tracking systems to follow soon. So I think we will get some news soon that there are some more media servers and tracking system following that idea, and you can then easily and safely connect via MA3 with these external devices. So have a look at the NetDuck package. That makes sense to have it on your USB stick. And a nice small addition, if you want to have everything, so including on-PC software, stick software, the Whisky and NetDuck, the release notes, so everything you need around the grandMA3 version 2.3, we are now offering a full package. So in the download section, you can see a full package with all the different software packages in there. So you just need to download this. You can extract it on the USB stick, and your USB stick will be ready to update all the different devices in your grandMA3 system. Of course, this package is slightly bigger, but therefore it contains everything you need. Great. Let's have a look. I can't see too many questions at the moment. I hope I could answer some of them. If not, as mentioned, you can always get in contact with your local MA support, with our distributors and our friends, and we are very happy to help and to support you and also to receive your feedback. So we hope you like grandMA3 version 2.3. I'm happy that you took the time to get the first look and the first run through 2.3. I'm happy that you were here. And I hope to see you next time again in one of our webinars, or better, outside in the field at your shows and your productions. So thank you for taking the time. Thank you for listening, and hope to see you soon. Happy programming. Cheers and bye-bye.